Our next speaker is Ray Chase. Ray is president and chairman of the board of STARS Family Services and the father of Lauren, a 35-year-old woman with cerebral palsy who enjoys the STARS ministry at College Church in Wheaton. Ray is also a business leader, engineer, and grandfather of 5. The work that STARS is doing, in my estimation, is progressive, impressive, and all of that. I saw his presentation last fall at another seminar and again thought, why are we not doing this kind of thing out here in the northwest suburbs? So maybe Ray can give us some tips on that. So please help me welcome Ray Chase.
Let me take care of just a few things here of a mic and some other details as they pull this together. Thank you so much for letting me come and speak. By show of hands, how many are parents here trying to do something for their kids? Okay, all right. Well, that's what I was, or at NM. But I happen to belong to a very old church, college church in Wheaton, and that's had a disability ministry for over 50 years. And we'll talk about that in just a moment as we get things together here. I've left on both tables at both ends a little brochure about STARS, so if you're interested in getting it on the way out, please do. But as you can see in what you've heard today, there are many ways you can get to taking care of your children, and what you'll see here is, as you've heard my name mentioned a couple of times and CIF's name mentioned a couple of times, you need to talk to people and network with people and share ideas, and that also gives you the courage to take that step. I'm doing some work in the South, and they have a saying down there I hadn't quite heard before. It's called, "Have you swallowed your frog today?" And that is when you have that first tough task, that first thing to do, swallow your frog first. And if you have two frogs, swallow the ugliest one first. I thought that was a good saying down there. So, how are we coming? Okay.
What is the title of your
that's it.
That might be the one you sent me.
Okay, it's right there on the desktop.
Right here?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is it?
Yep.
Housing Summit?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, you changed it. Just a second. Go back.
So now it's locked up. All right.
Okay.
This one?
That one. All right.
And
Then go to slideshow. You're there from beginning.
why was it clicked though?
There we go. There you go. You got it.
Cool. You got your clicker?
I do. And
And
we're
your
speakers are on?
Yep.
Okay, I think we have it together. STARS Family Services, we call it SFS, is indebted to the pioneering work of Center for Independent Futures. Without their guidance, College Church and Wheaton's vision, and God's blessings, SFS would not be able to provide for our STARS as we do today. You all know the statistics, and you know the situation in the state of Illinois, but simply put, oh boy. Okay. All right, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. Most disabled adults live with their families, as we know. And there's two questions that get asked. Where will my child live when I can no longer care for them? And what will my child do all day? STARS at College Church, for over 50 years, College Church in Wheaton has come alongside special needs families. And our mission is to minister in word and deed to children and adults with intellectual disabilities and the families that love them. What started out with about 6 families is now serving over 135 families throughout DuPage County. We don't make membership at College Church a requirement. And right now, only about 40% of those 135 families are actually members. But we offer Sunday morning programs, Sunday evening music programs, Wednesday evening music programs, and then every other Friday we have a program. Once a month, that program includes a respite opportunity for parents to listen to speakers. What we've done over these almost 50 years now is created community. We didn't realize we were doing that today, but in today's lingo, we've created community. The history of our housing, the elders in our church came together and said our stars are aging. That's what we call our special needs community, stars, and so are their parents. And we just happen to have a mother and her son. This is Ann and Kurt Cole. Ann was a widow, and she approached the church elders and said, I'd like to do something after I pass away, but my goal is to live one day longer than my son because I'm going to take care of him. Kurt died about 9 years ago in July, and Ann died the following March. And she left just a small amount of money from the sale of her home that she'd put into a trust, $115,000 that became the seed money for our housing program.
In 2011, we opened our first home for 4 men. The vision for
Can you hear that?
the house came from Gene Hooten, who began the ministry to the disabled community over 50 years ago. Now called Stars, one of our early participants was Kenny Hansen Jr. Kenny, along with his family, grew this ministry to now over 135 families involved in this ministry, which has become a community. We have a dream to open 2 more homes. Our next home was for women, and we named it the Gene Hooten Home. 5 women have lived there nearly a year and are doing very well. Our most recent home honors Kenny Hansen Jr., and it opened last month for 5 women. Today, I want to introduce you to the residents of Kenny's home.
Do you want to join my team? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to talk about rules. Yes, that's good. I lived in the Stars home for 5 years. If you're going to live together, you got to work together as a team. Yes, sir, Gary. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm Chris. I'm from Toronto. I'm from Norfolk. My name is Dan. I live in Lynn now and I promise. I'm alive. You see these people here, team, these are the bosses. But there's one important one. This man up there, his name is Jesus. He keeps an eye on us. With Jesus, we get the most of our Stars help.
We'll check back in with the 5 guys from Kenny's home next year. Meanwhile, over at the Gene Hooten home,
when we found out about Stars Family Services, we were always wondering, we knew there would be new homes coming up. Never knew for sure if Katie would be one of them that was chosen. You always worry about your children, what's going to happen to them in the future, especially when we no longer can care for her and do the things that we know that she needs. We talked to Katie about it, and every time we talked to her about the possibility of moving out of the home, she kept coming back to one thing. She wanted to be with her Stars friends. And her Stars friends are really Katie's social world. She goes Wednesday nights, Sunday nights, Friday nights, Sunday mornings. She goes on retreats. This is her whole social life.
When we realized that Katie was coming to the home, We knew she had to have things to do every day of the week. So in high school, she worked in her church filing music, and we discovered how much she likes to alphabetize. So we went to the Wheaton Public Library here, and we got her a job, but then we knew she had to be able to get to the library, so we practiced walking here and walking back. Well, the house wasn't open yet, so we would drive here, park in front of the house, and we would walk to the library. Katie would do her job, and then we would walk home. She also volunteers one day a week at the Stars Resale job, and she's part of the partnership program the other day a week at Twice as Nice.
When each of our residents, before they move in, every single parent talks to me about their concerns. And each time, we see them work in the resale shops. We see them walking to the library on their own. We see them coming home from their day and saying, I would like to try a new chore today. We go through these things step by step. We learn them together, and they succeed. It's so exciting.
We just found that once Katie moved into the Hoofman house, she has just blossomed. We are so happy with the way that she has really taken to the other people, really caring about the other people in the home.
I think she needed this. I think she just needed to feel that she was grown up and she could be independent and she could be with her friends. Every kid likes to go to college, and this is her version.
Stars Family Services has just been just a godsend. The fact that Stars Family Services is run by people who know our kids, who know their needs, and who know and love them, that just makes it so comforting for us, because we know that she's always going to be taken care of, because there are good people at Stars Family Services.
The Stars housing model works. Katie is blossoming. She continues to grow in her independence. She gives back to the community, and she's transforming her family. The Stars community continues to grow, and with that growth comes additional need for housing, so that other Stars might experience what Katie's experiencing. With your help, we can make that happen.
Well, the tray will be passed in just a moment. That actually was our what we call our Ask video at a recent our annual fundraiser. But as you can see from our program, we've created community. The 5 women that moved into that home have known each other a minimum of 6 years. 3 of them have known each other for 20 years because they've been in the program that long. And so it's just natural for them to kind of be there. Now, we're fortunate in that this is a ministry that's been around for 50 years, and you may not have that critical mass of people. But in your community, there is that critical mass of special needs people. So how you bring them together is the trick, I think, going forward for you. So our philosophy is appropriate independence. What we've identified is that some of our special needs population can be very independent and might not like a home like this where there's 4 or 5 other housemates. And some of our stars have higher needs than these stars have. And so in the future, we're looking at what alternatives we might look at in terms of our housing program. Our philosophy is that we've created a community and that we will continue to develop that community. Our model is one of establishing routine with our life skills supervisors, our life skills tutors, our community builder, and volunteers. Our first home was opened in June of 2011, and it was our test tube. We learned so much out of this. We started out with a 5-bedroom, well, it was originally a 3-bedroom ranch. We converted to a 5-bedroom ranch with 3 bathrooms, and a separate bedroom and bath for our community builder, which is the live-in person. What we've discovered is he needs even more separation, so when we built the next 2 homes, we created an apartment upstairs. Our plan is to come back to this home and do a remodel to create a separate entrance and a little bit more separation. This is Gary, when his first year. That's Coach Gary in our video. This is his room. He still lives there. He has a Beatles poster hanging on his wall, and he's got fire truck pictures hanging on his wall. But this is his schedule on the outside of the door. And again, routine is so important. We're fortunate enough, too, to have built a tradition of a 5K. We're in our 11th year this year. We run it every June, second Saturday in June, and it raises funds for camp scholarships, which provides respite for parents, and then funds our job coaching program. And this is one of our stars and his father. We also have College Church has 2 resale shops. One funds an outreach program to South Carroll Stream for an after-school program. The other funds Stars Family Services and the housing program. But they also create jobs for our stars that are in our homes, as well as stars who are still living with their parents. We're looking at other avenues of employment because we're kind of maxed out here. We're looking at other resale shops. We have one dad that's put together a small cleaning company, and he takes some of our stars on Thursdays and Fridays and cleans. He started with churches and other people that might have a sensitive heart to special needs. That's growing. We're looking at we're looking at shredding as being an alternative of a job that might be done. But this was our architect's vision of our homes. This is after they were built. And then Jean Hooten home for 5 women. We've built 6 bedrooms in each of these homes so that 1 extra bedroom could be used for respite. We discovered that there was a lot of interest in having a place where somebody could, a child with special needs could stay while a surgery was happening or a vacation. And so we've done that, and we piloted that this past summer. We've tried it with a young lady who's actually in college, a special needs lady that goes up to Shepherd's in Wisconsin during the school year, and we had her live with us to see how that would work, and we learned a lot in that process. So that's the Jean Hooten home. And again, the residents. I heard Cassie's name, so somebody must know Cassie and her family. They prepare their own meals. It starts out with a afternoon life skills tutor works with them. And then eventually they start making it themselves with the life skills tutor standing beside them. They cook the evening meal. One resident cooks the evening meal the entire week, and the week prior, they're the one that does the grocery shopping. We've made it simple. We go to Aldi's where it's a simple floor plan, and they buy what they want for their meals the next week. We also have volunteers who come in and do what I call the bulk shopping once a month, so that the residents are focused on just their meals for the next week. We're active with crafts. We're very fortunate in these 2 homes to have built full-size basements that have great recreational area and places for socials. We haven't tapped that yet. Our next plan is to start doing some socials in the evenings as alternatives, because we've also discovered on our Friday night program that we have that as our stars age, they're not so inclined to want to be around all the young stars where they're loud, and so we're thinking of creating an alternative place. These 2 new homes are a block and a half from our church, and so it's just the sense of community is just enhanced by that. And then Kenny Hansen home. Kenny was one of our earliest stars. He's passed away, but his family was instrumental in helping keep the program going 50 years ago. This is one of our kitchens. You've seen that we've made them very nice, and I remember talking to one of the elders. Buyer's remorse. As we were building these, I'm thinking, are they too nice? Have we made them too nice? And the elder said, no. It shows, excuse me. It shows how committed we are to these people and how important they are to God. So we're really blessed to have elders that have a vision for these worthwhile people. So those are our cross street properties. We're very fortunate to have some professional singers in our congregation. And every year they put on what's called the Little Patch of Heaven. It's a live radio show. We just wrapped one up. Last year's show, we did it twice. We had over 1,400 people come. So we've created a community within our community of people who are interested. We've been very fortunate to have the Daily Herald support us with articles before the event. We found that reporter who is interested in disability ministry, who we stay connected with and gives us some help in publishing in DuPage County. So Stars Family Services, what's next? Every year we have to go before the City Group Care Home Commission. And the first few years it was like, oh boy, this is hard stuff. You have to pull together this book. This book is like 35 pages of documents and resumes of all of our workers. And so here we are now in year 6 now, but in year 4, after we got approval for the 2 new homes and the licenses for those, the chairperson of the Group Home Commission at the very end, after it was unanimously approved, no residents of the neighborhood showed up where they had in the past. None showed up. She said, okay, now that you have 3 under your belt, when are you coming to us for the next one? I was shocked. I was speechless that she was like, bring it on. We want to see more of this in Wheaton. And our plans are this. We can't take care of all of our stars. We have a stars parent back here who we can't quite take care of because of her needs are beyond our scope. But I have board members right now that I've sent them out to, I want you to go look at what other people are doing for higher needs people, nursing care. We can't do nursing care in our home with our model today, but we want to find that agency that we might partner with. And then on the other side, we know that there are some stars that are relatively independent, and so we're starting to look at investing in apartments where they want to stay in the community, they want to have the accountability and be part of the weekly programs, and that we would invest in those apartments and rent them to them so that they're really on their own. They can have 1 person in there or 2 people in there. So those are the things that we're looking at, what's next, those 2 extremes. Any questions? Yes?
How, is it just people from your area that can apply to be in the STARS program?
Great question, because now we are getting requests from Ohio, Kansas City, St. Louis. And so we have a list right now of 9 requirements to be in one of our STARS homes. Number 1 is that you're part of the STARS ministry for at least a year. And that's a big filter, but it's intentional. Because we've created community, we want them to grow in that community, and we want it to be at least a year. They get to know us, because faith-based isn't for everybody, and we are a faith-based organization. And so we want to make sure they're comfortable, but that allows us to know them. When the last home we opened for guys, there were 21 guys in STARS that were of age and available to move into the home. And we had to kind of choose between those 21 guys. Now, some of them opt out. You get right to the line, and the mom and dad, we're not ready for him to leave yet. And so part of that, though, is because we know them, having been around for so long, we know, well, this guy might have a problem with that guy, and it helps us in that matching process. So we don't need Yentl. Is that her name? That Jewish? Yeah. So that's how that kind of filters. Now, there are people that come from northwest suburbs to the STARS programs, and we're very open to that. And again, membership at College Church, this is not about trying to create membership. Katie and her family, her family lives in Glen Ellen. She doesn't anymore. She lives in this house. They belong to one of the Catholic churches over there. So again, it's not about trying to get people to join College Church. Yes?
Does their Social Security funding then fund the daily living in the house?
Yes, except we've taken a different approach. Most agencies get the funds directly. Okay, we've chosen not to do that, but to leave those options with the parents. So everybody who's in a home has Social Security, some kind of Social Security. Some have more than others, and I can assume that's where most of the money comes from. All right, but also many of them have home-based waivers, and so they use some of their home-based waivers for their day programs. And I don't know if they use some of the surplus for this or not. I don't know. We charge for our services. It's $1,400 a month. And in the survey of what we've looked at and what other agencies are taking, we think that's really very economical. But that doesn't cover all the costs. That's why we do the fundraisers. We project right now to lose, that's how we look at it. At Washington House, our oldest home, we lose $85,000 a year. That's what the fundraising is for. Our new homes, because we had a donor, two donors, that helped us buy the land. Then we raised $1.2 million to build the homes. They're paid for. So our loss every year at those homes is about $65,000. So that's what the fundraising is for. Yes?
Property taxes,
No property taxes. You appeal to the state of Illinois as a not-for-profit, so that's one of the advantages of why we're a not-for-profit. We had to go through the process. We did have to pay impact fees for our new construction to the Park District and the School District, but those are a one-time event.
Is there any other questions for Ray?
What were those 9 things you started and you didn't finish?
Well, I won't go through all 9, but some of them are just really practical ones on these first homes. The largest population of special needs it's with men. There are more men statistically, which is odd because in the whole population there's more women than men, but in the special needs population there's more men than women. And so we started with a men's home, but they need to be able to take care of personal care for themselves, for example. Brush their own teeth, do their own toileting. That's one of them. The other is that they need to be willing, in our program, to participate in devotions and things of that nature. I won't go through all the 9. They're on our website if you'd like to go look at those.
You said that some of the people have home-based funding. So
Yes.
what do they use their home-based funding? And does that mean that you are enrolled as a waiver provider?
No, we are not. We are not. And again, that's one reason why we don't take the funds directly. All of our residents are either Ray Graham participants or Seguin or Range of Motion or Little Friends. And so most of their funds go to their day programs for those agencies. And I'm just assuming that some of them, now that is an issue that we're working through today, but I think that's one of the reasons why we don't take the funds directly, because we're not a SILA. We chose not to go down that path. Yes?
So do anyone have like personal care workers?
Yes. Yes, they all, some of them have personal care workers. Yeah. So when we have a PACT meeting, PACT is the large funding agency in DuPage County. They come right into the homes and the families come there and they have their meetings right there.
I'm curious, are there any other faith-based organizations that have contacted you or are interested in replicating your model?
Yeah, not recently, but about 3 years ago through CIF, a Jewish organization approached us about how we were doing it and what our approach was. I haven't kept up with them to see where they're going, but that's closest. Now, we are in a network of special needs churches throughout the country, and so I'm able to go and talk in some of their churches about this, but none right here in Chicago yet.
We have time for one more question for Ray. Anyone?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, my sister lives down the street, or right in the next house, and she had really said to me about how the community was invited to the open. My sister lives at the house right next to, right across from the church, and I had seen the houses being built under construction, so I did find some research. But my sister, you know, who lives in the community with her kids, the Wheaton community has been very open to you and very inviting to the open house. So was really amazed from just, you know, my sister has no experience dealing with anyone with disability except for my child. And so, so those are some positive feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. And our first, well, our second home that we built, let me say that differently. Our first home went really well, and we had just a few people show up at the public hearings because you have to go through public hearings. And but when we started to build our next two homes, you know, we chose to go the route of, rather than building a huge facility, because Wheaton would allow you to have up to 15 people in a home, we didn't want to do that because now it's an institution, and we want these to be homes. The best compliment we get is when somebody comes in, this is like someone's home, and we say, it is someone's home. And so we didn't want to make a big one, so we approached the city and said, look, we know you have a requirement that says special needs homes group homes have to be at least 500 feet apart. Well, we'd like to come to you and say we want that 15-person license, but we'd like to make two separate homes that are side by side. And it kind of went back and forth, and they came back and said, that makes sense because the house will look better in the neighborhood. And that was one of the first, we got a lot of objections from just a few neighbors that were concerned about their house values. But as you could see the homes, they're all now like, this really helps our house values. These, oh, just because they're afraid of the type of people that might be in there. Yeah, well, we went through that. In fact, there were some very emotional times. But yeah, one of the most rewarding things, though, as we were building it, the most emotional family came to me when I was out on a construction site with the plans across the front of my car, and I thought, oh no, here it comes. He put his hand out and said, Ray, I'm so glad you're here now. And just did a 180. And his son is now participating in some of the outreach sports programs at our church. So it's just Wheaton has been very embracing. So, yeah.
How about a wonderful round of applause for Ray?